Oh, goodness. All right. We're working on it here. Okay, Eychimo's Adventures has been having some adventures. I once again crashed and burned on a new place I went to that had no gravity to speak of in the wrong ship, because I now discovered to go to some of these no atmosphere, low gravity moons, I need vertical thrust, space thrust. Have to have it. Okay, that's not where I want to go here. Let's get some speed up, some altitude. Go to the map. We don't want to go there. We want to go to this place. We want to go to one of the territories on the planet. Why didn't it show where it is? Let's get a bit better view here. Gear up. Scroll out. Over the horizon. Yes, we are. Alright, we're going to power into here. I want to turn the resurrection node off. I've got to be able to get back to the moon to pick up a ship. After I pick up a ship, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to force a death. What I'm going to do, force a respawn so I can go get both my ships back. So I have them available, or I can actually leave this one here as long as I have the spawn point there, I suppose. I gotta go here and turn this resurrection node off. And we're coming up on breaking out of atmosphere. We need to get about a little over 4,000 meters. We are in a full burn. And we'll take off once here we go. We're getting there. We should have space motors are kicking in, and we are breaking out of the atmosphere. Here we go. I actually got this little ship right. This is very, very light cargo. It holds out of 9,600, 10,000 liters of cargo. Is all it holds. Doesn't hold. That's really not very much once you get so far into the game. It's got a small cargo box in it. It seems like a lot when you start out, but it is not. You almost need a cargo ship. You got to have at least a medium-sized box in it, which is what this holds. Say 10,000. About 8 times as big. I think my medium box. I think it starts at 64,000 talents. You can pack more in them. I think I'm up to 8,500, 8,400, something like that. 84,000 versus less than 10,000. So there's a big difference in what the boxes carry, which also means there's a big difference in the weight you got to get out off the planets. And I went to a very low gravity, no atmosphere moon to put in a new territory. Well, I got there really, really hard and died as I crashed my medium cargo ship. I did not design it to land on planets that had no atmosphere. I never even thought about it, but these moons have no atmosphere, and they have very low gravity, and even though I could slow it down, what little gravity was there sucked it right into the planet, and I had no way to create any type of lift until the boosters kicked in, and for the boosters to kick in, you're looking at your 50 meters off the ground. It had so much momentum I couldn't stop. If I'd have realized what I was doing, I would have never done it. I had no trouble landing this little ship because it does have vertical thrust, both atmospheric and space thrust. I can show you. See the force motors on the side. You see the space thrust motors are going down. The two pointed down. It also has 4 atmospheric to help with lift. My other cargo ship has none of those things. And boy, when I got to that moon, I thought, oh shit. And I was already committed. It was too late. And and I probably could have powered it out of there, and I just didn't think I would do it. So, yeah, it didn't end well. But I did go back after I died. I had this ship where I died. And that's what I do. I set my resurrection nodes to where my other ship is, so when I die, I have the ability to transport myself. But I have see, the ship was on this planet, and so I'm going to have to take it back to the moon, or this ice moon, and I'm going to have to park it, so I'm going to need the resurrection node there active when I place it, so I'm going to have to deactivate this one to do that. So I have got to go here. I had to go back, make a resurrection node that I can install. I am learning as I go, and I made a few mistakes. Make no mistake about it. Okay, we're out of gravity, but we're heading in the right direction, so we're not even going to bother changing our trajectory here. We're just going to go ahead and suck into warp until we get closer. And we could just keep going till we eventually reach max speed, but I do not want to waste the fuel. I do not have any with me, and I don't want to make any. So we're going to conserve it. I still got somewhere else to go, although I might have to stop back on the sanctuary moon and fill the tanks up. I should have brought some with me. I didn't think about it. I was thinking about other things. And we're just coasting. We're still being some affected with gravity, but not much. And I could turn the frame rate counter on. It varies. We're out here in space. They limit the frame rates, or they turn. You have no VSync to turn off. But I run FreeSync 100 sync monitors, so I'm thinking they have a frame rate cap, because I do have a 100 megahertz FreeSync monitor. So I'm thinking it's capped at 60 FPS. However, on the ground, I do not get 60. You know, it varies what I'm doing. Usually normally stays around 50 when you're doing other things. And if the server gets crappy, I've seen it jump all the way down to 5. Now they claim this, because it's voxels, they claim it's CPU intensive, but as you can see, of course I'm running a 3900X 12 core, but it never taxes this CPU. Now I will run 99% on my GPU, which is a 5700 XT AMD, but it never, ever affects my CPU much. And I'm running an ultra wide 1440p, so I am running in 1440p if you're curious. And it's ultra wide, so what, 3440 by 1440p. because I just really like running the ultra wide screens. Flying in this game is different. And atmosphere and space flight are completely different. In atmosphere, you can use brute force or you can use lift. You can see the wings on this little ship. I use lift in the atmosphere as well as brute force. But in space, it is all thrusters. Now, I have vertical thrust. I do not have any lateral thrust built into this ship. You can have all 4 degrees of thrust. And I probably will have to do that once I start putting in a space station and I'm trying to dock. You almost have to have all degrees of movement to be able to line up wherever you're docking to. I would think. In space, we're right now, you see the stars flashing by, that little shit. We're actually in a low speed warp. To break out of our trajectory that we're heading right now, let's turn directories on and I'll show you. We'll have a green arrow that shows us our direction. To break out of that direction, we will actually have to get out of warp and overcome our momentum to change directions. We can come to a complete stop and do it easily, or we can use thrusts by changing our vector until we finally break free of our momentum. Like I say, spaceships in this game in space fly like spaceships. They'd fly nothing like airplanes, which every other game does, including Star Citizen. I'm sorry, ships in space fly like airplanes. They do not do that here. We do not have rolling landings. We have we got VTOL. Make no mistake about it. The ships are VTOL. We have boosters underneath of them. I can show you. See those? I can't point with my mouse, but 4 discs in the back, of the very back of the ship. Those are boosters. You'll see one up front. Those are boosters, and they actually provide a certain amount of vertical lift so far off the ground, dependent on your talent points. The more talent points, the higher they'll lift you, the more thrust they create. Of course, there are different sizes to overcome that. When you start out, you have to realize that you do not have any talent points at all. So you really have to allow, people are buying ships that people make, and these people have put all their points in pilot, and so they can make ships do things that the new player can't. So they're spending all these credits on buying ships somebody makes and they can't fly them, and they're bitching. Well, they didn't sell you something that didn't work. They sold you something that takes more skill than you have, and they should have stated that when they sold it, but they don't. Now, this is one of the first ships I built. It's actually the second. The first one I built I learned off of. This one is actually flyable by anybody with no talents, because that's the way I made it. Now, as my pilot talent points are picking up, I get better and better with it. But I flew it when I had no talent points in pilot. I think my avatar, its mining, dredging, stuff like that was more important to me, so I could get going into making industry, so I could make my own stuff. I haven't bought anything in this game. Everything I have, I've made myself. This ship, I completely constructed from scratch off my own ideas, and what I learned from my first ship to make it work. So, but you can buy things. You can buy anything in the game. The markets here are amazing. You don't have to make nothing if you don't want to. I think that's part of the fun, but everybody's different. Some people are just playing the markets. That's all they're doing. They're not even playing the game. They just, They're running around to the different markets and buying shit at a low price and taking them where they're selling them at a high price and making profits, which you can do. I'm just, yeah, not my gameplay. But there's nothing wrong with it, and they are having a lot of fun doing it. Like I say, markets in this game are better than WoW, the way they're set up. And WoW, you can buy anything anywhere. Here, you can't. You can see everything in the whole universe, the whole sandbox. You can see every price, every sell, at every place. But you actually have to go to the location it's sold at to be able to get it in your inventory. You can't just say, oh, look at the price way over there on the other side. Well, yeah, you can buy it, but it will sit there until you go pick it up. So trading in this game is actually real trading. And you have to remember, everything in this game was made by somebody playing. Everything you see on the market was constructed by a player. Everything, all the ships, everything in the game was designed by players. And you can see some pretty neat ships. Now, I haven't seen these space stations yet. I haven't been out. I don't know where they're at. I don't know, they don't want me to know where they're at. Guilds have been, guilds are so far ahead of the players, solo players. I've been playing solo, so. But guilds are, you got 20 people getting resources and mining. You can build pretty quick and get stuff going in a hurry. So they're already got their space stations, or got them started. Have big cities already they've built. Well, not huge yet, but they've got everything they need. They have the industry running. I have my industry running, but it ain't nothing like what they've got. You have people working together for a common goal. You get a lot done, especially in a crafting building game, expansion game. I'm up to 3 territories on 3 different planetary bodies. Shit, they're already got everything. They already have territories, several territories on every planet out there. So, but I'm doing the best I can do. But I've been having fun, and it is beta. There are bugs. They've had a few server issues. Like I say, everybody in this game is in the same sandbox. There are no instances. And sometimes the servers just say, oh, wow, we forgot where we were at, or it will lose you, or it'll do a lot of things. But they work on it constantly. They're constantly doing updates, server-side fixes, and all this stuff. They've been really good at it. It was really rough when they first went live. Now, they went live for the backers a week ahead of time, and I can say for that whole week, everything was just smooth as butters. But when they went live for the general public slammed them with way more people than they thought they were going to have playing, and the servers took a dump, for a pretty serious dump. It was really rough the first 2 or 3 days. But they've been adding capacity and fixing the shit ever since, and it's getting better and better. It's not quite the way it was back with what I call backer beta when we started a week early, but it's getting pretty close, and things are working really well again. Like I say, there are bugs. I have login issues. It likes to crash when I first log in. I don't have no idea why. It's not my machine. It's not my internet. Some way the server just can't. It's just not picking it up. So it's crashing. The game itself is crashing. And it will occasionally disconnect you, and sometimes it will disconnect you at the worst possible time. Of course, all games do that. This one likes to do it when you're coming out of space, going into atmosphere. It will disconnect you, and you come back in, and you will be dead, and your ship will be burned up. However, everything in this game can be repaired. Uh, God knows I've crashed mine enough times now to verify that it's and I repair them back. Sometimes, depending on the material you use to repair, it can take a while to repair them. Better material, the faster the repair. I'm only up to tier 2 scrap, so I haven't even found a tier 3 material yet, or a resource. But I do have tier 2 scraps in my inventory, so in case I do crash and burn, I can fix it a lot faster than using tier 1. Because trust me, using tier 1 materials, and some of these items take a whole lot of repair points. Some of them take very little. And we're going to get here to the point that I'll start braking a little bit. We want to be, the time we get to 0.5 SU, which is roughly 100 kilometers, we want to be below or at 1100 kilometers an hour. If you come into a planet with an atmosphere, which this one has, this is Alioth, and you smack it at 3000 or this speed, it's going to destroy the ship as soon as it hits the atmosphere. Now I have got it down at 3,000 kilometers an hour, hitting it at the right angle by shit luck. But yeah, and it took damage. It just didn't burn up completely. So we're going to start braking here. We got to get rid of this speed, and I'm probably should have started braking a little bit sooner, but I'm getting braver, which is probably mean another word for stupider. We've got brakes. When you build a ship, don't be afraid to put air brakes on it and retro brakes. They are your friend. Right now we're running retro brakes. Swing the front end around here and you'll see. See, brakes. Lots of brakes. Same thing in atmosphere. It's got lots of atmospheric brakes on it. I can hold position. Trust me, you want to be able to do those things. Here it's a matter of, I want to slow this damn thing down. Now you can slow it down by flipping 180 degrees and burning your main thrusters. But that's inefficient and it's time consuming. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, we are now out of warp. You'll notice we dropped our speed below 2,000 kilometers an hour. We dropped out of warp. And we're going to go ahead and break it all the way down. Start rolling, but you'll notice, see, things work like spaceships. They do not work like airplanes in space. See the thrusters? I have the vectors on. We are a spaceship. Think lunar module. You know, that's what we are. We're going to come to a complete stop here, or as big a stop as we can. Now the gravity's got us. See the vector? It's showing, pulling us down. The gravity has us, but that's okay. Now we're going to give us a little thrust, and we're going to head to our waypoint, which I have set. That is where my territory unit is and my static construct on this planet is. All I have here is a medium box to use as a link container when I mine, and a resurrection node. I haven't built anything on this planet. It hasn't been necessary for me. Now we will keep our speed below 11, and about 0.5 SU will pick up the atmosphere. we're just going to come on in while we're dropping. Like I say, we're being sucked down right now as we speak. The gravity has us. And I have enough vertical thrust, down thrust, that I can break that at this altitude. But the thing about it is, once I get in the atmosphere, those thrusters, those motors will not work. They're space motors. And my atmospheric vertical thrusters are not strong enough to get me into space. The atmospheric ones. They just help coming into the ground, slowing my descent, and provide extra lift in high altitude. But they are not enough. I can put big enough ones on there that they could, but it turns it into a fuel hog. You don't actually need to use wings in the atmosphere. As I said, you can use brute force. It just takes more fuel. So you have to have bigger tanks, and we do not want to go back into warp here. I'm not paying attention. We want to keep it down, although we're not in any danger of being in the atmosphere yet, but no sense in letting it creep up too high. It's not like I'm in a big hurry. As my piloting talents increase, my ability to do things increases as well. My thrusters become stronger, all that kind of happy bullshit. I get more lift off the wings, I get more aerodynamic. As I said, everything's based on talent points. Their premise is that you've been in cyrostasis for, I don't know, 500,000 years or whatever, and you woke up and only 12% of your brain is working. So as your brain gets better, you earn talent points. You always want to make sure you have talent points queued ahead of time, because if you don't, you hardly collect any. Because an idle mind doesn't get any credit. But I really have been having a lot of fun. I've had some frustrating moments, of course. God knows how many times I've crashed. Sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's the game's fault. Sometimes I'm just not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I crashed last night going into that no atmosphere moon, and it never even dawned on me that that was not going to work. Never dawned on me. Well, I learned the hard way. Now I did go back and repair the ship. The ship is sitting there repaired. But being as I couldn't bring it back, I needed to come back here, and I figured, well, I got to go back to the moon. This ship is much better equipped to land on a no atmosphere planet because it has vertical thrust. And it did not, and that was the trouble. If I'd have had vertical thrust on it. Now I'm going to go back, take that ship back to my main base on Sanctuary Moon, and I'm going to rebuild it. I'm not going to rebuild it completely, but I'm going to redesign part of it so it has vertical thrust, because it was not pretty. Now all our game mechanics here are in. They are just, this beta is about polishing and pretties. Adding graphic quality and all that stuff on the fauna, the biomes, all that stuff. Like I said, this is actually a true beta. They did not worry about pretties. Although there are places that are just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that ice moon is really cool. I mean, I have to admit, it was really cool, totally encased in ice, that I went to last night. You'll see here when I get there. I'll probably take a break before I go back there, but I'll stream it. Just because it is so cool looking. As soon as we hit the atmosphere, we are going to have to throttle up. And I mean a lot of throttle because we got to get lift. And we got about 10,000 meters to go here, and we will start hitting the atmosphere. I see it would be nice to be able to zoom in. As soon as I hit it, I'd have lift, but I can't do that. You burn up. We're getting close here. See, I'm keeping my speed down. As soon as I see that I have got to keep an eye on it, or at least I do. And we're going to have to go around the planet, I believe, to hit our. Well, I'm not sure. No, we probably are in right space here. Okay, we're getting close here. Getting close. Come on, we got thrusters here coming. There we go. Okay, we're gonna get full burn. Oh no! Oh no! That hurts. We are going to log in, and I am going to have seconds to get in the pilot seat. Ah, man. Okay, we're gonna stop. I'm not gonna, let's fuel clear out. Son of a gun, that really hurt. Now that's how you can blow your ship up, right there. I'm in the atmosphere, at least I'm high atmosphere. I gotta get back in the pilot seat, and I have to get the burns going and get enough lift so it doesn't crash into the ground. And I am falling, so yeah, that's not good. This, like I say, it's beta. You have to expect shit. Okay, we'll be back in 15-20 minutes. We'll let everybody's trying to jump back in at once. There's no sense fighting the queue. We're going to be in the same spot anyway. It doesn't make any difference. So we'll be